There we go. That's a fat one. That's what you can expect out here in the springtime. Pre-spawn, big, fat, largemouth bass. Hi everybody, my name's Cade Laufenberg here on behalf of Mystery Tackle Box. And today we're going to be talking about how to catch a bunch of these beautiful green finned freaks of nature here on the Mississippi River and surrounding backwater lakes. I'll walk you through the basics. I'm going to get this one back to fight another day. Stay tuned for some great information and tips on how to catch more of these fat ones. It's been a brutal winter here in Minnesota, but we're finally getting some beautiful 65-degree sunshine, and the fish are feeling that. They're moving up into the shallows to get into that warmest water, and it's my favorite time in the pre-spawn period when the fish are really fired up. I've got a bunch of baits from Mystery Tackle Box here that I'm testing out today. Mystery Tackle Box has sent me I'm a Little stick, which we're going to talk about that, how I use it during the spawn period to find fish on beds. I've also got a Perfection Lure stand-up football jig. I'm using that on ledges, working into pre-spawn areas, and those fish set up on those deeper ledges, and I can drag that jig across, catch fish that are schooled up, waiting to move into the shallows. I've also got some Catchco finesse worms or a cotton candy color, and I'm putting that on a Catchco flickety split. It's like a flick shake style jig head, 1/8 ounce, that helps me fish that finesse worm a lot faster in a wacky style. When the fish are real finicky and starting to move up shallow, that bait's super effective. Also super effective to catch them off the beds when they do finally move into that spawning stage. And then I've also got a Mystery Tackle Box exclusive chatterbait from Z-Man. It's black, purple, and blue. It's a midnight series, so it's designed for night fishing, but I love combing over grass flats with that bait. You get up there when the sun's just starting to warm up those flats, and the fish just fan out over them, and they're biting moving baits, and that chatterbait just is a great bait to cover water with. I've also got the Cream Lures Real Screamer swim bait, and it's black with purple fleck. I'm putting that on the back of that midnight chatterbait, and those fish were just choking it the other day. I can't wait for you guys to see that footage here shortly, but I'm just going to run through a little bit of the basics of what I'm doing pre-spawn looking for these bass. Basically, when you get a sunny day with a little wind, you're going to chase the wind and get into those banks where the wind's blowing all that warmest water into. I'm looking for pockets that catch the wind. So if the wind's coming out of the north, I'm looking for a pocket that opens up and catches that wind. All those fish will funnel in there and chase that warmest water. Even just a half a degree is what's going to make a big difference. And they'll get on any kind of little cover that's hanging out in the deepest part of that pocket. This particular pocket that I just got done fishing, caught a bunch of fish out of. There's a nice little feeder pile from a muskrat house, and they sit up under there just waiting for the right time to go up and start spawning. So here I'm working down this stretch of reeds. It's, the reeds are real shallow, like 1 to 3 foot up in the reeds, and that's where there's a lot of sunlight hitting this bank. Those fish like to pull up into those reeds because they retain a lot of heat. But they'll also pull out and slide down, and I've got a nice sharp drop off back here. Falls into about 15 feet of water real sharply off the edge of the reeds. So I'm kind of working a 1-2 punch. I'm flipping something into those weeds. A Texas rig works great for that. And then I'm picking up that flickety split, flick shake style head with the cotton candy colored worm and just working that down the drop. And you see me catch this nice fish here. And I'd already combed over this area with a Texas rig multiple times. Flickety shake, or the flickety split head, got me another one. So that was a really cool fish catch. Now when I'm fishing this bait, I like to rig it up on a 7-foot medium heavy Daiwa Steve spinning rod with a Tatula spinning reel, 30-pound braided line, and an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. That's the deal. You feel a lot more bites with that braid to fluorocarbon leader setup. And I'm going to use this from now in the pre-spawn all the way up into the spawning period. I'll throw this on the beds, and those big females, when they're spawning and they're guarding that nest, they just can't resist it. The other bait that I'm using from the box is this Mystery Tackle Box exclusive Z-Man chatterbait. And got that Cream Lures Real Screamer swim bait on there. Just covering grass flats. You see me here catching a bunch of big fish. 2.5 to 3 pound fish. Those are really good quality fish here on the Mississippi River. And I just went across the grass flat, 3 to 4 foot of water. I knew the general vicinity where I was going to expect to catch some bass, but using a chatterbait, that really helps me pinpoint where they are quickly because I can keep on the trolling motor, keep covering that water. These are fish that are going to be spawning in a couple weeks. They just like to sit back there in that fresh early green coontail vegetation that I've got in front of me, and they'll stage out there in the grass before they move into the back of the flats to spawn in a couple weeks when that water hits 65 degrees. Now once these fish transition to the spawning mode, which is coming in just a few weeks, you know, you really need some of that 75 to 80 degree warm air, warm nights in the 50s to 60s to really trigger it, and the full moon helps. But once those fish get up on the beds, if I'm fishing in some dirtier water and I've got a tournament coming up, I know I need to find fish on the beds, but I don't have time to sit and soak a little finesse worm all down this bank. I'll pick up a lure like a prop bait, or what I've got here, an Ima little stick. And you know this is a hammer time bait because the FLW Tour Forest Wood Cup champion won the tournament on this bait last year in August on Lake Murray, South Carolina. You know that bait catches them. I'm gonna throw this up on the banks where I suspect there's fish bedding and just work it real slow, little twitches and pauses. And what's gonna happen is a lot of those big females, they'll come up and at least take a look at it. Sometimes they'll take it. So what you wanna do is either cut your hooks off or replace them with like safety pins I've heard people doing. I typically just fish it with the hooks because I like to catch a few and see what kind of quality I'm around. But you know, if you're cautious about how many fish you're hooking in practice, take the hooks off. But you can cover a lot of water with the topwater bait. Those fish will come up and swirl on it, and even if you're fishing dirty water, usually you can get a decent look at those fish when they come up to a topwater bait and check it out, and that'll tell you. And then you can zoom right in there, mark the bed with a waypoint. Don't be that guy that's putting stuff on the bank, because somebody else will be tipped off to that, and they'll either move it on you, or they'll come back and catch that fish that you marked. So mark it on your GPS unit, use a topwater to find those bedding bass, come back and throw that flickety split with a little finesse worm on there, and you'll be catching those bedding bass lickety split with the flickety split. So that's your 1-2 punch in the spawning time. Try it out this year. Those bass are moving up on the bed all over the country, and I know everyone's gonna have a great spring. I'm hoping to have a great spring here. We finally have the weather for it. Now all we need is to get our time in on the water. So you guys have a great spring, summer transition. I'll be out here catching fish. My name is Cade Laufenberg. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Cade Laufenberg Fishing. I'll be coming at you all summer long, fishing the Great Lakes division of the BFL through FLW Fishing. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot more videos for Mystery Tackle Box, so stay tuned.